game here as well.
Oh, a little flavor.
Yeah, a little flavor.
Nice. Very nice. We're underway here in game number 3 between Ingram and Bowman. Looks like they both kept their 7-card hands. A Visions here from Peter. He'll draw a card, and we'll see how he wants to scry. Looks like both cards are going to go on top. To Bowman we go. Does he have Aether Vial? He always has Aether Vial, right? Bang. He always has the Vial.
Please find your seats as soon as possible.
Sometimes he's had too many vials.
Yes,
but
that's
he's always
been a problem.
got one. So
one and then stop.
Yes, that's the plan. To Pete Ingram will go.
Aether Vial definitely on the list of best cards in Magic if you can guarantee that you have one in your opening hand and never draw one for the rest of the game.
Agreed. Without question. There are some times where you want a second one. Yeah, sometimes. There are times.
But the cost on this card is all the opportunity cost of multiple copies or top decking it later in the game. When it's in your opening hand, if your deck's set up to play it well, which Bowman's definitely is, night and day.
Yep.
And also fine against Nahiri because it can only exile tapped artifacts. So just be careful.
Here's a Sacred Founder as the battlefield tap. Let's go back over to Adam. Vial up to 1. Cavernous Soul is going to make Peter's counter magic pretty bad. The Vial will too.
Counter spells are awful against Bowman's deck. Yeah. It's a deck full of cheap cards, creature lands, Aether Vial, and Cavern of Souls.
Diffusion Sliver is the first card Peter's going to read. We'll, of course, take a look at it again. It is, we should call it Frost Titan Sliver, but whenever a Sliver creature you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 2 mana.
And you can see Ingram with a Lightning Helix in his hand, so take that.
That just got a lot more expensive. That's what happened there. Cryptic Command in hand here for Peter as well. He also has that Dastardly Emrakul.
Yes.
Got a little work to do there.
Throw something out there. Bowman, if he's got his thing going on, can get hit by Emrakul and still easily win the game. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah, fair enough. So maybe it wasn't, you know, Jace and Gideon and everyone who should have taken the oath. We should have enlisted the Sliver, shouldn't we?
Right.
They would have taken care of those
Sliver
aliens.
Queen, Sliver Hive Lord.
I bet if Emrakul saw a Sliver, it would run away.
Misform Ultimus.
Yeah. Woodland Changeling.
Woodland Changeling.
I'm out of here. What do we got? What do we got?
And that right there is a real sign. Bowman not willing to trade off the Diffusion Sliver with a Vendilion Click or a Snapcaster Mage. He's got big plans.
That card's great in this matchup.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to trade anything off either.
50 minutes, you may begin.
Vial activation. Now this is where you get to respond if you're Pete Ingram, if you want to. Here's a Mana Weft Sliver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now here comes Collected Company. Will this resolve? It's one of my favorite plays that Bowman always makes.
Yes, the surprise Collected Company by sneaking in a Mana Sliver is one of the more charming and powerful elements of this deck.
I adore this part of the deck. And this is the kind of spell you can let resolve.
Nope.
You have to counter this, and I think Ingram might have to pay the full 4 mana with Cryptic Command to do that.
Right. What's interesting is, you know, Ingram has Anger the Gods in his hand, so under normal circumstances you could say, well, okay, let this resolve, untap, anger away everything. But so many of Bowman's Collected Companies cause Anger of the Gods to just go down the toilet. He can't risk letting this resolve.
Yeah, it might be Cryptic.
But the question is, there's an argument that it should be Cryptic Command, counter the Collected Company, bounce the Aether Vial rather than draw a card.
Yeah, just to stop sort of this nonsense.
Well, you see Ingram's hand, he's got Nahiri, and he's got Anger of the Gods. A lot of his reaction is at sorcery speed, so the Vial is problematic long term. If you think you have the resources to just trade 1-for-1 the whole game and beat him that way, then draw a card. But otherwise, you might have to get the Vial off the table.
Well, that's exactly what he did, a play that I can agree with. Let's see what comes next here for Adam Bowman. I think step 1 is reestablishing the Vial. He's going to fire at Mutavault, come across here for 4. A land, which is Sliver Hive, a Vial, and I love it. He's got more slivers to play, obviously.
Yeah, and this is a heads-up play too, because I think Bowman can probably sense Ingram is playing towards a sweeper here.
Yep.
And so instead of dumping out the whole hand, just get in a couple points of damage, start getting some value out of your Mutavault, set the vial back, and see what Ingram has in store for you. Don't overextend. But Ingram can't really play Nahiri in minus because Diffusion Sliver for 1, and 2, the Nahiri would just die.
And you know he wants to do a lot better with that than Anger of the Gods.
Yep.
But this is the best that Adam will allow him to do. So that's Peter's entire turn. Vial up to 1. Mutavault can probably serve in here. We could see Blur Sliver.
Can you see it?
Can I see what?
It's a blur.
Stop. Grow up. Here comes Mutavault for 3.
Sweet.
Yep. Predatory
See?
Sliver pre-combat.
Advance the board a little bit, get in some action with your Mutavault.
Yep.
You're ready to vial in Flying Man Sliver.
Yeah, Gale Rider is the technical term. Nice, though. Not Flying Man Sliver. Here's an activation of the vial. There is Flying Man Sliver, as Patrick so eloquently called it. It's a 2-2, given Predatory Sliver. Time to untap, vial up to 2, draw a card. I think another Cavern may have been the draw.
Oh, so +1/+1. It says 2/2 flyer.
Currently a 2/2 flyer, yes.
So Sapphire Leech Sliver.
Yes, Sapphire Leech Sliver is it.
Okay.
Here come the beatdowns. Mutavault hanging back, which I kind of like.
So I think Ingram's got, his hand's so powerful right now. He still has several Snapcaster Mages he hasn't made use of. I think he's in a good position to win this game, but you can see Bowman is aware of Ingram's responses and general game plan and is trying to squeeze every ounce out of his cards.
Lightning Helix will take down Predatory Sliver. Ingram will gain a little bit of life, and then he'll probably lose a little life because of the Gale Rider Sliver. Goblet Shrines the land. Pass the turn back. Back to Pete we go. Snapcaster makes the draw. Might be thinking Nahiri.
Well, the Nahiri is awkward because I don't think the minus gets him very far here. And if he pluses, he would probably want to loot away his Emrakul, and then the multiple Snapcaster Mages he has in his hand.
Get a lot worse.
Right. I would probably, this turn, try to just Snapcaster Helix a thing. Pass it back to him and try to kill something.
Yeah, looks like that's what he's going to do.
Especially now you know that Bowman doesn't have Collected Company in hand, so you don't have to worry about, him accompanying into something like Sedge Sliver or something that blows up that line.
And he couldn't cast it if he could.
Yeah.
He's got no green mana. Sixth land's another cavern, which means Sliver Hive, I believe, is on now.
Sweet. Now we go to Plan B.
Yes. Start cranking them out. Gale Rider Sliver is thinking beatdowns. Sliver Hive on screen. Here's an attack for 1, maybe. All right, just 1. Here's Snappy. You see the Hive. You put a 1/1 colorless Sliver creature token on the battlefield. Activate this ability only if you control a Sliver.
And if Bowman is not taking this opportunity to make a token, that means he has something, most likely means he has something to vial in.
Yep. Here comes Snapcaster Mage, maybe. Nahiri to start. Now, oddly enough, with Ingram's shields down, this could be a really big turn for Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right now in his hand, he's got a Blur Sliver and a Mana West Sliver, so his hand's not great, but it could turn into a lot more than that, depending on what he draws.
So I think from Ingram, what I would prefer to see as the first order of business is attack with the Snapcaster Mage.
Okay.
If you attack with Snapcaster, there's a good chance that Bowman vials in a Sliver and activates the Sliver Hive to trade with the Snapcaster Mage. At that point, you can Nahiri and minus and get rid of the vial if you want to, because it'll be tapped. And then all of your sorcery speed stuff, all your removal spells become it's a lot easier to use. Now Ingram's in this weird spot where he's got to defend Nahiri from Sliver Hive tokens. Like, this is not a spot where his 1-for-1 removal deck really wants to be.
You saw Blur Sliver work its way in, and now a Sliver Hive token. A Verdant Catacombs to draw there for Bowman, however.
You know, now Bowman has a very powerful route to tax this Nahiri.
He's going to start by attacking with a sliver. It's just 1, but those can add up.
Well, next turn it's 2, and because of Blur Sliver, it can be 3 if he wants it to be.
Yep.
And, you know, in a long game, this is not a card that Ingram's deck handles very well. He can't remove lands from the battlefield. All his deck is removal spells and 1 toughness creatures. He does not have an easy route to handle this card.
Verdant Catacombs is the land. Electrolyze the draw. It's a pretty good draw.
Yeah, I mean, that's his way of managing the card. He's got cards like Annular Gods and Electrolyze that allow him to swallow up a bunch of tokens all at once. But now he's at the mercy of, you know, if Bowman finds a Sedge Sliver, now what's the plan?
Yep. Here he's going up to 7. Ingram, what's he want to discard? I think he might be thinking Emrakul now. He's thinking Nahiri. Draw a card. Scalding Tarn. Finally found a 5th land. He'll play that immediately.
And you can see the awkwardness here. It's not free having the Emrakul package in the deck. Ingram's stuck with it in his hand because he can't afford to shuffle his graveyard right now.
Sacrifice a Verdant Catacombs here, will Bowman. Also activate the Sliver Hive to put another one with Sliver on the battlefield. I think we'll see the Overgrown Tomb here.
I mean, there's not. He barely has any fetchable lands in the deck, so that might be the last one.
There are some good draws available. Here's Electrolyze. Take care of those tokens while the shields are down. And draw a card. Time for Adam to draw. Ooh. Up to 4?
Okay.
I love it.
I guess it's possibly his telekinetic sliver.
Maybe.
Start going after the lands.
Could be bluff sliver.
Yeah.
Could just be a complete bluff. There's a swamp. It's flooding pretty bad right now.
It's not the end of the world because he has Mutavault and Sliver Hive, so he at least has something to do with the lands.
He'll make a sliver with Sliver Hive and then attack immediately because of Blur Sliver, so the slivers have haste, of course. Ingram's going to sacrifice a Scalding Tarn. Gonna dig something up.
And it's possible at this point Ingram has a route here where he can snap Electrolyze to block and trade out of the next attack. Nahiri goes to 8, and then he can Emrakul, and Emrakul should be good here.
Electrolyze the draw. Makes things even easier. Up to 8 here for Nahiri. Ingram will discard Emrakul, it looks like, because he needs it in his deck. He'll draw and then resolve the Emrakul shuffle. Picked up a copy of Mana Leak, which is horrendous.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
I can see keeping Cryptic Command in the deck because, you know, you can tap the entire team down. It always answers Collected Company. Mana Leak is a little dodgy to me because, as you can see, Bowman has a lot of good cards against counter spells.
I will say the one thing that Mana Leak does do in the matchup is it counters Collected Company. You know, there's that. I don't think it counters much else, but it does counter that.
When Bowman's doing his thing, he's often got 3 mana hanging around.
That's probably true.
Whoa! Oh man, we are going.
Oh, the Overlord.
Yeah, we're going to the Hive Lord.
Yep.
Sweet.
Going to the top rope, or at least trying to.
We should all be so lucky.
Vendilion clicking the draw step. Blur Sliver and Mana Weft Sliver. I think if you're Peter, you say you can probably keep those.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe not if the goal is to get to... I guess he has a Blur Sliver already,
yep.
And the Mana Weft Sliver is not providing very much. You probably let this hold off. It's possible these cards give Bowman the tools to keep Nahiri off of going Ultimate next turn, but long term, those cards don't mean very much.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep playing this sub-game.
Right.
You know, you have to keep my Nahiri in check, or you can't win. And we'll just keep playing this kind of minor sub-game while I keep getting draw steps and developing my board and activating Nahiri. That's what makes Nahiri so powerful. Looks like Mana Weft Sliver. Everything probably going towards Nahiri here. Got some blocks that are going to happen. So the real slivers are down. The sliver tokens knock Nahiri down to 6. now it's time for Ingram to untap. Got a pretty firm grasp on the game now.
Yep. What I like from Ingram's position here is he's not in this huge rush to go ultimate with Nahiri, especially with Bowman at 19 with a lot of permanents in play. He's just getting a lot of value, leveraging his card advantage. He'll get around to the Emrakul when he's ready for it, but he doesn't need to rush it.
Up to 8. Discard Mana Leak. See, that's why you leave it in.
Lots of cards are good to discard to
There
Nahiri.
you go. Electrolyze. Kill these. That slows down Sliver Hive because there are no slivers in play. As now we head back over Bowman's way. He'll draw. Vial on 5, hoping for the biggest and baddest sliver that he has. But it looks like Peter Ingram has got a firm grasp on this game, and I think unfortunately for Adam, he might be picking up a second loss here.
The problem is even if Adam can keep Nahiri off of going ultimate this turn, he probably can't keep it from going ultimate next turn.
Yep. There's a Blur Sliver. Mutavault. Beatdowns. At least an attempt. Peter's going to sacrifice a Scalding Tarn. I think we might see Snapcaster Mage plus block and then a Lightning Bolt on a creature.
Yeah.
And then that allows Nahiri to do her thing and close out this thing. There is Lightning Bolt. Here is Snapcaster Mage. Block, a trade. Peter's going to count the permanents here. I think we might see a Diffusion Sliver here. That's actually just another copy of Aether Vial. No good right now, unfortunately, for Adam Bowman, as he is cardless, and he realizes he's going to be losing 6 permanents in just a moment. Engineer Explosives on 1. That'll clear up the vials.
Get them all.
Yep. Looks like Peter Ingram's thinking flawless here, folks. Get all these permanents out of here. Here comes Emrakul. An attack for 15, taking care of 6 permanents as well. And that is going to do it. Peter Ingram's going to win this match here over Adam Bowman. 2-1. Jeskai Control will take care of Slivers. And for the member of Team Metagame Gurus, it's an 11-1 start, and he's very well on his way to top 8.
Yeah, that seemed like a pretty sweet interactive matchup there. A lot of combat, a lot of removal going around. Bowman did get to a late game position with Sliver Hive, which is not the easiest card for Ingram to manage, but with Electrolyzes and Snapcaster Mages and so forth, was able to defend Nahiri long enough to get to Emrakul.